I desire a separation as I've discovered someone who genuinely brings joy to my life. I'm Nathan Bell, 45 years old, employed as a financial systems analyst at Orbis Union in Richmond, Virginia. That message arrived while I was at my desk on a Wednesday morning, meticulously reviewing a client's fraud detection algorithms for the third time. My spouse Dana was supposedly attending a marketing seminar in Dallas for 3 days. She had claimed it was standard procedure. My phone vibrated again. I've already moved the retirement savings to my separate account. You can keep the house. I have no need for it any longer. I set my coffee down, launched my banking application, and verified the balances. Something was already incorrect, but not what she believed. I responded simply, "I hope you're happy." That was all. No disagreement, no begging, just those 4 words. I devoted the next 60 minutes to monitoring transaction updates across 3 different dashboard interfaces. Every shared account we possessed was connected to consolidated tracking, something I had constructed myself. Retirement funds, investments, emergency reserves, even the checking account Dana thought was exclusively hers. When she initiated those transfers, she triggered multiple fraud detection mechanisms. The system wasn't concerned with emotions or marital status. It identified 6-figure movements without proper dual-party verification. The federal anti-fraud procedures activated automatically. By noon, my phone was flooded with notifications, not from Dana, but from the receiving institution. Account review initiated. Deposits frozen pending investigation. I didn't grin or celebrate, just dismissed the alerts and returned to my responsibilities. Someone else's financial security required my attention now. Dana's phone would begin alerting her soon enough. She would attempt to access the money and discover her balance at 0. The system shows no mercy for poor decisions. I had learned that lesson observing accounts freeze during suspicious activity investigations. Money isn't influenced by love, betrayal, or timing. It follows protocols, and Dana had just violated every single one. We had been wed for 22 years, high school sweethearts from Petersburg. I was the numbers person even back then, calculating batting averages for the baseball team, monitoring our senior class fundraising dollar by dollar. Dana was the social butterfly, embodying everything a marketing professional should be: charismatic, persuasive, constantly networking. "You're excessively cautious with finances," she would comment after I had triple-checked our tax filings. "Someone needs to be," I'd answer. It functioned for years. I handled our finances while she developed her career at Valerie Marketing Group. She traveled frequently, workshops in Austin, seminars in Phoenix, always networking, always for the company. The warning indicators appeared gradually, like fog settling over water. 6 months ago, she stopped inquiring about retirement projections. 3 months ago, she opened a credit card without prior discussion. 2 weeks earlier, she remarked our guest bedroom was too disorganized. Who visits anymore anyway? My sister had perceived it during Thanksgiving. She seems detached. Just workplace pressure, I had explained. But Dana wasn't stressed. She was strategizing. While I maintained our consolidated financial tracking system, something I had built after a failed audit at a client company cost them millions, she had been studying it too, learning its vulnerabilities. Except my system didn't have blind spots. Every account connected, every transfer monitored. Not from suspicion, but from habit. From years of identifying client fraud attempts and understanding how money moves when people don't want it traced. Tuesday evening before her departure for Dallas, she had shown unusual interest in our retirement balances. "What's our total amount?" she had asked during dinner. "Approximately $800,000 between us," I had replied. "Why?" "Just curious." Now that curiosity made perfect sense. She had been calculating her exit strategy. I contemplated calling her mother, her best friend Patricia, my own parents. But what would I say? Your daughter attempted to steal our retirement and was caught by fraud detection? It sounded absurd, soap opera material. Instead, I prepared my own dinner, watched the news, and checked the alerts once more. The transfers remained frozen. The fraud investigation would require 5 to 7 business days before releasing or returning the funds. Dana had gambled on speed, hoping to access everything before I noticed, before the system caught up. She had forgotten that throughout our years together, I had never once overlooked a financial detail. The call arrived Friday morning at 11:30. "Nathan, my card isn't working." Her voice carried that edge I recognized from conference calls when her presentations went awry, controlled panic disguised as mild annoyance. "What's your balance?" "Zero." "How is it zero?" "I transferred." "Right about that." I heard her breathe, then silence. "What did you do?" "Nothing," I said truthfully. The fraud detection system flagged unusual transfers from protected retirement accounts. Federal regulations require review for large withdrawals without proper joint authorization. More silence. "How long?" 5 to 7 business days, maybe longer if they discover issues. She terminated the call. I remained in my home office examining the fraud alerts, sipped my coffee. Something fundamental had shifted within me, not anger, not betrayal exactly, just clarity. For 22 years, I'd safeguarded our financial future, saved carefully, invested wisely, constructed systems to identify problems before they materialized. And the woman I'd done it all for had decided to take everything and vanish. But the money wasn't what hurt. It was the efficiency of her betrayal. Text message, transfer, goodbye, like concluding a business transaction. I opened our investment portfolio. Without Dana's transfers, our retirement accounts remained intact. The house, purchased 5 years ago for $300,000, was now valued at nearly $500,000. My modest stocks held in individual accounts, our savings bonds, everything was still there, protected by protocols I'd established while she was traveling to networking events. My phone displayed 23 messages from Dana Friday afternoon. I didn't read them. What was there to discuss? The divorce attorney I consulted on Saturday was sympathetic but straightforward. "File now, document everything. The attempted financial misconduct will work in your favor." I submitted paperwork Monday morning. Simple documents, no alimony requests, no division of unaffected assets, just divorce. The house remained in my name. I hadn't touched our joint checking account, left it with its $3,000 balance. Dana could have that portion. By Tuesday, reality settled in. I wasn't vengeful by nature, never had been, but I wasn't naive either. The same systems I'd created to protect our clients at Orbis Union had protected me. Banking algorithms don't consider marriage vows. They focus on patterns, authorization, compliance, and Dana had violated every rule while believing she was being clever. I went to work, consumed lunch at my desk, reviewed fraud cases. The irony wasn't lost on me. Weekend arrived. I emptied the guest room Dana had complained about, donated her old books, packed up photos, not from anger, out of practicality. The life I'd known had concluded with a text message, but the systems I'd implemented had endured. Sometimes the best contingency plans are those you hope never to need, and sometimes they rescue you without requiring any effort. Dana hired Patricia Martinez as her legal representative. I knew Patricia from neighborhood barbecues, always the one discussing loopholes and legal workarounds. They filed a motion claiming I had orchestrated the account freeze deliberately. Your husband utilized his financial expertise to sabotage marital assets, the document stated. I met with my own lawyer, William Brooks, at West Hill Legal, a former banker himself. He read the motion and chuckled. They're alleging misconduct. He shook his head. Bold strategy when the fraud alerts are automated system responses, not manual actions. The hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Meanwhile, Dana called the house 17 times Sunday night. I finally answered. Nathan, you need to contact the bank. Tell them it was authorized. I'm stranded here. Where's here? Phoenix. I'm staying with friends. Phoenix isn't Dallas. Silence then. It's complicated. I'm sure it is. Did you call your conference organizer, your supervisor at Valerie? Don't start. Just asking since you're supposedly at a work event. Click. Monday brought interesting developments. My fraud monitoring systems identified something new. Dana had attempted to open credit cards using our joint address. 3 applications in 2 days. All declined due to the pending fraud investigation. She was trapped in a financial vice of her own creation. No accessible funds, credit frozen, travel limited to whatever cash she had available. Tuesday, Patricia called me directly. This situation is becoming messy, Nathan. Your wife needs basic living expenses. She's welcome to use the joint checking account. $3,000 is sitting there untouched. That's hardly reasonable. It's what we've always maintained for emergencies. She considered $800,000 reasonable to transfer without discussion. Patricia hung up. Wednesday brought revelation through unexpected channels. Alan Murphy, Dana's boss at Valerie, called with concerns. Was Dana actually at our Dallas conference? HR has no record of her registration. I considered lying, protecting her. Instead, you'd have to ask her. She hasn't returned my messages. We've noticed irregularities in her expense reports, too. My stomach turned. Not just a personal betrayal, professional misconduct as well. I can't speak to that. Understood, but if she contacts you, never mind. Thanks, Nathan. The fraud investigation expanded. Bank representatives contacted me directly. Sir, we've discovered multiple unusual transfers between corporate and personal accounts over the past 18 months, all from the same workstation IP address. Dana hadn't just stolen from us, she'd been siphoning company funds. My quiet, organized life shattered completely. Every foundation I'd relied upon, marriage, trust, basic honesty, appeared compromised. But I hadn't pushed her toward crime. I'd simply built systems that detected it when it occurred. Thursday morning, Patricia filed an emergency motion for Dana's living expenses. The judge scheduled a prompt hearing for Friday. I prepared methodically, printed bank statements, fraud alerts, historical transfer patterns. My financial training activated. Evidence speaks louder than accusations. The night before the hearing, Dana texted, "I'm sorry it came to this." I didn't respond. Apologies after attempted theft sounded hollow. Friday arrived cold and gray. At the courthouse, I saw Dana for the first time since her conference departure. She appeared smaller somehow, pale. "Why?" she whispered in the hallway. "Why what?" Why did I notice? Why did the system work? Why did you try to take everything? She offered no answer. The hearing lasted 20 minutes. The judge examined the fraud reports, noted the automated nature of the holds, ruled that access to joint checking was sufficient for basic needs during investigation. Dana departed empty-handed. Her trap had ensnared her instead. The following Monday, I received an unexpected visitor. Gregory Harris, an investigator from Eastern Financial Compliance, appeared at my office. "Mr. Bell, we've uncovered evidence of systematic fraud involving your wife and several corporate accounts. We need your expertise." "I'm not involved." "We know. That's why we need your assistance. Your personal fraud detection system flagged patterns we missed." Over coffee in our conference room, Gregory revealed the scope. Dana hadn't acted alone. Thomas Wade, another executive at Valerie Marketing, had helped establish a complex web of transfers. They'd been moving corporate marketing budgets into personal accounts for nearly 2 years. Your system triggered multiple alerts that led us to audit their entire division. How much? Preliminary estimate, $2 million across various accounts. I felt sick. While I'd been tracking our personal finances meticulously, my wife had been operating a corporate embezzlement scheme. The betrayal extended deeper than a failed marriage. What happens now? Federal investigation. Your personal accounts are already being separated from the business fraud case, but we need documentation showing your lack of knowledge or involvement. I provided everything: tax returns, personal financial statements, the entire audit trail of my own tracking systems, every piece of evidence proving I'd built these protocols for protection, not to enable theft. Dana texted that evening. "They're saying it's federal charges. They think I took millions." I didn't respond. What could I say? Tuesday brought more revelations. Our realtor, James Everett, called about unusual inquiries. "Someone's been asking about putting your house on the market. Pre-approved cash buyer, price at $300,000, said they represented you and your wife." $300,000. The original purchase price 5 years ago. Thomas Wade made these inquiries. How did you know that name? The pieces connected. Dana and Thomas hadn't just stolen money. They'd been planning to purchase our house at its old value through a Confederate buyer, resell it for the current market price of $500,000, pocket the difference. A complete exit strategy disguised as a real estate transaction. Wednesday, I met with Detective Sarah Flynn from the Richmond Financial Crimes Unit. She confirmed the pattern. They targeted properties owned by corporate employees, created artificial market pressure to force below-market sales. Your system detected transfer anomalies that uncovered the entire scheme. How many victims? 12 families so far. Your case provides the clearest evidence trail we have. I thought of those 12 families. People like me who trusted, who planned carefully, who followed rules while others discovered ways around them. Thursday, Dana's attempt to access the frozen funds through an emergency court order failed. Her lawyer requested a conference. "Your client needs to prepare for federal indictment," William Brooks explained. "The fraud investigation has expanded beyond marital assets." Patricia appeared shaken. Federal wire fraud, conspiracy, possible RICO charges if they establish ongoing enterprise. Dana would face significant prison time not just for stealing from me, but for systematic theft from her employer and coordinated property fraud. That evening, I forwarded all my financial documentation to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Every fraud alert, every monitoring log, every piece of evidence my systems had collected. I hadn't built those systems for revenge, but they'd uncovered a crime far larger than personal betrayal. Justice doesn't emerge from anger. It comes from facts, from patterns, from systems designed to reveal truth. And sometimes truth destroys more than just marriages. I testified before the grand jury Thursday morning, clear, factual, no emotion in my voice, as I explained how my financial monitoring systems functioned. The automated alerts triggered at 3 a.m. when transfers exceeded preset thresholds. No human intervention required. The prosecutor appreciated the technical precision. Did you ever access your wife's accounts without permission? Number, the system monitored joint accounts only. I built it to detect unusual patterns in our shared finances. 2 hours of testimony, details about every alert, every security protocol, how the system distinguished normal from suspicious activity. Donna's potential sentence became clearer. The U.S. Attorney's Office outlined charges, multiple counts of wire fraud, conspiracy, and embezzlement, 20 years minimum if convicted. After testimony, I drove directly to my office at Orbis Union. My team leader, Michelle Chang, had been handling calls all week. Federal investigators said they need our complete systems audit, everything Dana had access to. We spent Friday converting 3 years of financial data, every login, every transaction, every access point Dana had utilized to create her scheme. None of us anticipated this, Michelle said quietly. Nobody did. That's why these systems exist. The weekend brought unexpected peace. Federal investigators seized Dana and Thomas's phones, laptops, external drives, the evidence accumulated hourly. Sunday afternoon, Patricia called. Nathan, Dana wants to provide information about larger financial crimes. She's prepared to identify participants if charges are reduced. That's between her and the prosecutors. They might inquire about marital reconciliation as character witness material. I considered carefully. Tell them our marriage ended when she attempted to steal our retirement. The rest is just numbers. Monday, I received formal notification. The investigation regarding marital assets was complete. All retirement funds would be restored to their original accounts. The joint checking account would be divided equally, $1,500, half of what Dana thought she needed for basic expenses. Tuesday brought finality. Federal indictments issued. Dana, Thomas, and 5 other Valerie employees charged with operating an organized financial fraud scheme across Virginia. The bail hearing revealed more. Under federal guidelines, flight risk meant no bond. Dana would remain incarcerated pending trial. Her text from jail Tuesday evening, "I never intended for it to go this far." I finally responded, "You never intended to get caught." Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney offered plea agreements, reduced sentences for full cooperation. Dana's choice now, 20 years, or testify against Thomas and his network. I emptied her office in our house that evening. Boxes of marketing materials, files, computer printouts. In the bottom drawer, I discovered a notebook with real estate prices, property assessments, a list of 12 addresses, targets, our house among them. She had planned methodically like I would have, but for theft instead of security. Thursday afternoon, the divorce proceedings continued. Her incarceration complicated everything. "Your wife is willing to relinquish all marital property," her new public defender explained, "in exchange for your testimony about her character." "I've already testified about what I know, the financial systems, the fraud alerts. She's requesting personal testimony regarding your marriage." I contemplated this. 22 years, the person I thought I knew, the schemes I never suspected. "I'll testify about what I observed, nothing more." William filed documents confirming the terms. House remained mine. Retirement accounts restored. Modest alimony rejected. Federal sentencing would make it irrelevant. Friday, I received a letter, handwritten from jail. I lost myself in the money, started seeing how simple it was. Thomas claimed the systems could be circumvented. I believed him over you. I'm sorry. I placed the letter in my file cabinet, evidence of admission, not forgiveness. The systems I'd built continued working, automated, impartial, identifying crimes while marriages disintegrated. The federal trial lasted 17 days. I testified twice, First, about the financial systems. Second, about my marriage. Did you ever suspect your wife's professional activities? Number, I trusted her. When did that trust end? When my fraud detection system caught her attempting to transfer our retirement funds without authorization. The jury listened attentively. Dana appeared smaller each day, paler, the designer clothes replaced by standard jail attire. On day 12, Thomas Wade cracked. Plea deal accepted, full cooperation in exchange for 7 years instead of 25. He detailed everything: marketing budget embezzlement, property manipulation schemes, a network of executives across 3 states, Dana's role as coordinator. She managed the books, tracked everything, ensured nothing appeared unusual on company statements. Ironic, she'd learned financial diligence from observing me, used it for a criminal enterprise instead of protection. The prosecution played recorded calls. Dana's voice clear. Nathan's too focused on his own systems. He'll never examine my work accounts. My wife of 22 years, betting on my respect for boundaries to enable her crimes. Day 17 brought the verdict. Guilty, 12 counts of wire fraud, 8 counts conspiracy, 2 counts embezzlement, sentencing set for 6 weeks later. I exited the courthouse directly to my truck. No press conferences, no statements, just drove home. The financial system had fulfilled its purpose, detected the fraud, supplied evidence, facilitated justice, not revenge, just consequences. 2 months after sentencing, Dana received 18 years, Thomas 9. I sold the house. $500,000 after fees, more than sufficient to begin anew elsewhere. I maintained the Richmond position at Orbis Union, enhanced my fraud detection systems, added features specifically designed to identify corporate embezzlement schemes. These updates could save other companies millions, Michelle reported. That's the objective. The divorce concluded quietly. No disputed issues. Dana's guilty plea eliminated contention. I signed documents while she began her prison sentence. William called with an update. Full restitution ordered. Your retirement funds are permanently protected. I purchased a smaller house in Norfolk. Single story, simple, no guest rooms to clutter, no reminders of 22 wasted years. Started teaching part-time at Old Dominion University, financial fraud detection class twice weekly. Real cases, real lessons. Trust but verify, I told students. Systems protect when people can't. Occasionally received letters from prison. Dana's remorse deepening with isolation. I didn't respond, didn't visit, didn't forgive, not cruel, just detached. The systems operated without emotion, algorithms detecting patterns, mathematics revealing truth. I learned to live the same way. 3 years later, morning coffee ritual established, simple breakfast, market checks, automated, drives to work. Without destinations to avoid, sometimes past Valerie Marketing Group while running errands. New building, fresh start. 12 families received restitution, learned to trust carefully. Life continued, orderly, systematic, protected. The lesson persisted. Betrayal happens, theft occurs, systems endure, and sometimes justice arrives through equations rather than emotions. I've made peace with that mathematics.